Good morning. It's Tuesday, June 11th. And we have some, I won't say fun stuff to talk about, but we have some, potentially engaging things to talk about today as we talk about Fain under fire, an open letter to Elon Musk, and Apple and AI, or Apple intelligence, I guess we're going to call it now.
Our goal is to get through the first two stories as fast as possible because we're
just to get to Apple intelligence. To which 30% of our audience rolls their eyes and say, just get an Android, and who cares? Android had that feature.
The entirety of our overseas audience is like, what are you even talking about?
Yeah, right. Android had those features a year ago, right? That's how it usually
like
goes.
2018.
Or like 2018. So good. So good. Hey, good morning today. Let's see. First and foremost, we have an upcoming webinar. We said it yesterday. Circle your calendar on June 26th at 2 p.m. Eastern for a webinar with our friends at Activator. These are our quick shot ASOTU Edge webinars. They're a lot of fun. We keep it moving. It feels almost like a morning show, but we learn some things, get insights into some unique data, talk some dealers. So this one is reawakening your dealership, overcoming industry challenges from the COVID coma, we're going to call it, but we're going to talk about, understanding and some data with the shift in consumer behaviors. We're going to talk about how to leverage your own data, not relying on other people's data. And we always walk away from these things just kind of like engaged in learning, which is the point of a webinar, right?
Yeah, that's exactly it. That just so if you haven't been to one of our webinars before, we keep it 30 minutes, short, sweet, but right to the point. We get right after it. We say the things that need to be said and get out because we know your day is busy. You need to get on with it. So that's why we've kind of shortened the format just to make it really accessible to get in and learn. That's right.
That's right. Also been talking about this. All our breakout sessions are from ASOTUCon, are on our YouTube channel now, ASOTube, ASOTU.be.
Whoa.
We also released a new one of our ASOTUCon sessions, which is the podcast we recorded live at ASOTUCon. And basically this one's great. From strict to empathetic with Don Hall, the unreasonable hospitality auto auction. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. I'm reading show notes and they're not matching what I'm looking out on screen. Tell us what's going on, Kyle.
No, that's so I don't know if you know about this auto auction that is just like literally the best social media profile for an auto auction in the country.
Yes.
Yeah. So they are all about some more than cars, some unreasonable hospitality. So yeah, I think
Nathan's saying we're releasing 2 ASOTUCon sessions a day now. So basically the best thing for you to do is to just go to your podcast platform and search ASOTUCon sessions. And that way you'll see all the new things that are coming out. These are my favorite, by the way.
Yeah.
Nathan's typing furiously into our show notes right now,
trying to give us the better lead on it. But no, you got to check out the one. I think you actually did the one with Bianca, right? Or
I did. That was actually an impromptu one because whoever I was going to be podcasting with in that slot was like late. And I said, okay, well, we were late guests. So who's in there's probably like 50 people sitting watching. I was like, all right, who are we going to talk to? And Blanca was there and they're new to the ASOTU community. And basically we connected over a post I had made about Unreasonable Hospitality, the book. And she made a comment and I let her know she should come to ASOTUCon, and then found out about her auto auction. And they brought their like a huge team out. They actually ended up going to New York City and eating at 11 Madison Park too.
So
that's a real ASOTU story right there.
That's a story right there.
Oh, well, let's get in some news because we got a couple of stories that may be a little interesting today. UAW President, you know who he is, Shawn Fain. He is now under investigation for alleged retaliation against other union leaders, raising significant concerns within the organization. Basically, there's an independent federal monitor. His name's Neil Barofsky. He's investigating claims that UAW Secretary-Treasurer Margaret Mock alleged retaliation for her refusal to authorize certain expenditures. Basically said she didn't authorize the expenditure. There was retaliation. Fain is also facing accusations of retaliating against Rich Boyer, who is the leader of the union's Stellantis department. Fain took over Boyer's duties in the end of May, and the complaints allege that the change came because Boyer refused to engage in acts of financial misconduct to benefit others, according to the court filing. Yeah, this is some serious stuff, actually. So the independent federal monitor, Barofsky, his probe began in February and has faced what they're calling document turnover delay. So basically, of the 116,000 relevant documents they've requested, only about 2,600 have been turned over and reviewed, with the Department of Justice alleging that the union's position is making it difficult, if not impossible, for the monitor to fulfill his mandate to remove fraud, corruption, and illegality within the UAW. Fain responded, quote, taking our union in a new direction means sometimes you have to rock the boat, and that upsets some people who want to keep the status quo.
Okay.
We put the whoa in status quo.
Yeah, I'm just I'm gonna tread lightly here.
Please
My
do.
tread lightly
Please
is it is clear that Fain has rocked the boat over the last year.
True.
How far he has rocked it is yet to be determined, but it seems a little dicey up in there.
Yeah, I mean, without a doubt, man, the union business is a contact sport, like full on. So we'll let the people who get to the bottom of things like this get to the bottom of things like this. We're just reporting the news as it comes out.
There it is.
I guess.
Lob that one over and see how you feel about it, fam.
Speaking of seeing how you feel about it,
Yes.
definitely going to be some feelings about this one on both sides, I think.
Both sides. Here we go.
So Haig Partners has published an open letter to Elon CEO, Tesla CEO Elon Musk, urging him to consider a strategic partnership with dealers to propel Tesla into its next growth phase. They argue that the partnership could transform Tesla's market position and profitability. Basically, they kind of went through this and they outlined the benefits of going with a dealer network, including like a better buying experience, because dealers can provide in-person support, and that, a lot of people don't want to do things online, as well as trade-in financing for people with less than stellar credit. Also said they could expand service center availability. Right now, Tesla only has like 2,000 service centers when they probably should have like 10,000 or whatever that number is. They said they could get higher margins because dealer could add profitability and added benefits. Dealers would pay for a lot of this, so it wouldn't require any capital from Tesla. And so they also mentioned like robo-taxi fleets, and if there are these fleets, then, we could have dealers and service centers who could service these things. So basically saying we could help you scale your business. Here's a quote from the letter. Elon, you have become one of the most successful entrepreneurs in history. You've taken us over the roads, under the roads, out to space, and other places few could have ever imagined. Dealers have been adding value to the auto industry for over 100 years, and partnering with these entrepreneurs could enhance Tesla's customer experience and provide Tesla with massive benefits.
Man, there's a couple things that I want to say about this. First is, one, kudos to the Haig partners for putting this out there and standing by the dealer and its ability to do well for automakers.
That's a good summary.
I think that is an important construct of what we do as an industry, and it's an important piece of what we do here at ASOTU as well. My unfortunate disagreement here, and maybe just challenge to Haig partners and really to dealers, if you're listening to this, is I don't honestly know if as a franchise industry we're prepared and capable of assuming the technology requirements, training requirements, integration expectations of the Tesla consumer experience, both from sales and service. And so I'm just not even sure if a large enough swath of dealers is ready for this type of engagement from an entrepreneur,
for it to make sense, right?
For it to make sense, right? I think that there's a very small sliver, right?
Yep, we got 5%.
No, I don't even think it's 5%. I honestly think it's less than 1% of dealers that are capable of engaging with the consumer, the technology, the integration
at that level of sophistication.
At that level of sophistication. unless it's like create an entirely separate business unit.
Yeah.
Because the current status of technology, of even just like accounting principles, of customer service is it's honestly not even on the same planet, which is sad for me to say, but it's also why we exist. We're like, no, we have to challenge the status quo because right now we're not ready to engage at this level.
Yeah, man,
Stinks, but it's
so,
true.
I mean, those are super fair points. I was driving in this morning with my son Miles, and we were talking about this specifically, and from technology aside, I made a post yesterday about like canceling an order for a Cybertruck, and the technology involved in it was just so like
Seamless.
unlike anything I've ever experienced. How easily it worked, but also you think of the training mechanisms that would need to be put in place, even to like prepare, and Tesla wanting to separate their brand. A lot of hurdles, actually, and I think one of the biggest hurdles is Elon himself.
Right.
He doesn't play well with others, and like that's why one of the reasons why he's so successful, because he said we're going to do it our way, and we're going to pivot on a dime, and we're going to make these big decisions. Like I don't know that there's a lot of people lining up to get like under his purview. Like if you think it's challenging sometimes dealing with Ford or Stellantis or Munoz or any of these cats, like wait till Elon walks in the room, because
he's like, take $6,000 off.
Yeah,
but we don't want to. No, done. Yeah.
Yeah. And so like what I said to Miles in the car here, I said, like, I feel like this is very similar. Like while Elon is CEO of Tesla, I can never see this happening. It's almost like if Jobs is ahead of Apple, but if they get a Tim Cook, I can see like meaningful steps being taken to start to integrate this gigantic distribution network of, you know, franchise dealership networks and things like that. But man, one way or another, what an amazing thought starter this letter to the editor is. And I think this is going to spur a lot of meaningful conversation.
Well, it's going to spur this conversation that says, what is the gap to this actually happen? Like, why would Elon and Tesla not adopt this strategy?
Yeah.
Because there's a gap to them adopting the strategy. Who wouldn't want to reduce expenses, reduce CapEx, increase margins, like
have people invest in facilities for you,
invest in facilities, broader service network. Who wouldn't want that as
books of business? Absolutely.
Period. But if there's a gap to doing it, there's a reason why Elon hasn't said yes already.
Yeah. Speaking of saying yes to something, finally,
segue
time on an iPhone.
If you didn't watch it, you should. Apple's WWDC keynote revealed yesterday a bunch of enhancements to their operating systems, but the most particular and long-awaited AI advancements for its devices have been announced, enhancing user experiences across their various platforms. They are naming it, tongue-in-cheekly, in my opinion, Apple Intelligence.
They just hijacked the whole
they're like, Apple Intelligence is AI. It's over. There's a few big things, and so we'll talk about them. But simply in the announcements, there were a lot of integrations and net new things in things like mail, messages, photos, a bunch of different apps. Some cool features like scheduled texts, satellite SMS messaging, tap back options across all of your emojis, and even RCS support, which if you don't know what that is, basically it's rich context for messages that aren't in iMessages. So now you're going to be able to get all your documents and your images to your Android friends a little bit easier, all that type of stuff. But the big announcement, Paul, and was all along the AI, and they've actually that there's two big things that they're doing. The first one is actually integrating with models. They haven't created their own models for AI. So the majority of it is integrating other modles into their Siri platform, which I think is a great move. It actually
remember what happened when they created their own maps?
Didn't go too hot, right? But I think what it does is it actually puts them in the hardware position, more like an NVIDIA, where they're making the chips that enable this deep level of integration.
It's a couple of bucks in that these days.
Yep. The next piece is that they are bringing the model into the device for an added level of security. So it's not actually a cloud-based model. They're integrating it into the software and hardware leveraging the silicon chip. So it's only going to be available on any processor, on any phones that have the M1 processor, which is the iPhone 15 and future, because it needs that processing power to maintain the speed of apps. And then they're creating a cloud network that is local device secured, still in the cloud, for additional computing power for larger tasks.
And
so
it lets you know, apparently, right? Like,
extremely
hey, this
private.
is off device now. Yeah,
exactly.
I mean,
extremely private.
This could be a big solution, even for OpenAI, as there are all these privacy concerns that constantly come up. And it's not a company that has really built like any kind of legacy of trust so far. Actually, just the opposite. So people trust Apple to be one of the most fanatical about protecting the privacy of their users. So I think this could be really good for OpenAI as well. I'm looking forward to some of the real basic features and integrations. Number one, Siri working a lot better. But even things like, you know, informal schedules. Like if you and I are texting, we're like, hey, are we going to meet at, you know, tomorrow at 3? And you're like, yes, it's all going to know that I want to do that, block it off in my calendar. Like all these personal assistant type AI integrations, I think are going to be really, it's kind of, there was this video back from the 80s of somebody, I can't remember what it was called. It was like when they were dreaming up like what the iPad could be, and it had this assistant on. Like, I feel like we're there now. Like literally this is going to be the thing that makes that commercial reality, where the guy wakes up and he's got his coffee and it's like an 8-minute commercial, right? Like these days they would figure how to do it in 30 seconds, and it was all the things that we want Apple to do for us, or we want our devices to do for us in a very practical way.
And if you're wondering how and why this connects to auto, other than the fact that we, so many of the industry uses iPhones every day, is the Apple ecosystem and the Android ecosystem, for that matter, are extensions of the vehicle's capabilities these days. And so actually understanding how a phone integrates with the computer's interactivity, because all of those app developers are going to be leveraging those resources as well, is going to be extremely important in your product knowledge and training.
There you go. I mean, I think we did like a full 3 laps today.
All the laps.
From Shawn Fain to Elon to Apple. Look, whatever you're doing out there, pay attention to what's going on in the world around you and use it to serve somebody.